Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV is with you again. Returns glorious and victorious. There's Ira. There's Corey. I'm Jeff. Yay, sausage! Big time, yay, sausage! As we celebrate with everybody. It's good to be back. Good to be back in the studio after a lopsided affair, guys. Bit of a lopsided affair. Register Sausage, the Yay Sausage group.
Maybe the biggest win in Register Sausage history, I would say.
I think so.
It's
got to be.
It is. I think so.
I don't even know what's second. Maybe the Miami game from a couple years ago, but I mean that's an all-time.
Last year's 45-3 ass stomping over Miami.
Yeah, but that was obvious early. It was a big win for the program to beat Miami 2 years ago and to beat for registers.
It was. But I celebrate the 45-3.
We got to give props to Ben and the guys for the promo code.
Oh, you pulled it up. There you go.
Celebratory promo code after the big win.
Oh yeah, what was it?
There's a lot of layers to this.
Okay.
So the promo code, if you go right now to registermeats.com, the website, the promo code is BK Have It Your Way.
Okay, BK Have It Your Way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brian Kelly, but I'm playing the Burger King thing. So it's BK Have It Your Way, and get you 25% off a little andouille.
Ooh, andouille.
Which is
I see.
It's another layer.
He's doing there.
Oh, yeah.
Some people call it andouille, but we call it andouille. And you can get 25% off of that at registermeats.com. Also, guys, good news. I hinted at this a couple weeks ago. I got a little more information. They had a really promising meeting with Publix over in Jacksonville. Apparently, going to be in the warehouse over in Jacksonville.
Man.
Going to be in all the Publixes in Jacksonville. I think it's been a little scattershot in the past. Now it's going to be in all the Publixes over there. Plus, hearing it's also in Costco now in Tallahassee, and it might be coming to expanded areas as well. So the registers is just taking over. Really on a parallel, they're also climbing,
rising
with Florida State football.
Yeah, I like it. Good use of scattershot.
It's kind of
you don't get that a lot,
especially with Jacksonville.
I like it. It's really well done. I just want to give you a compliment on that one. You see, came in locked and loaded, ready to roll. All right, so the ass kicking that was, we've all had our chance certainly to speak on it and write about it and talk about it, but now we get to do it together as headliners. Join us, celebrate this moment. You got to let that one wash over you for a few days because it is just Southern Miss coming up, and we did get a nightcap with Clemson last night losing to Duke in grandiose fashion, I might add. But I think the more disturbing element for Clemson is sort of the suspicions we've had for 2 years that the guys maybe be tuning him out a little bit. Perhaps there's some noise in the system, that things aren't well there. It appeared obvious to all who watched that game last night, not because of the disjointed nature of the offense and the turnovers and the fact that you got thumped by Duke, a team Florida State's never lost to.
Knock on wood.
But rather, again, like sort of just the moments where their players clearly don't really want to hear from the man.
You think it's funny, the emotions from just judging by Twitter and texts from friends, the emotions went from early in that game, oh man, Clemson's gettable. Like, this is going to be a fun trip. And it's like, oh, no, Duke, you don't need to beat them. Yeah. Let us beat them.
No, I was all right with beating them.
Oh, you were cool?
Yeah, I was cool.
Duke,
go ahead, just beat their ass. Let it just be an absolute tire fire this year. Let them go ahead and lose 9 games.
Here's what I don't like, and I can foresee it happening. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not predicting it because Florida State.
I know where this is going already, this ass. We just win 45-24. Here it comes.
Listen,
you got to hear what he says.
It gives Dabo a us against the world mentality.
Sure.
Florida State's going to be favored in that game. And if Clemson pulls off the upset, we have to hear sanctimonious Dabo say, I thought we were done. I thought Florida State had come and gotten us. They wouldn't have had that avenue if they had won yesterday. Everybody, literally, there's already a column about the dynasty's over. Clemson's run is over. Now, we probably agree with that. It was very concerning what you saw last night.
Yeah.
But let's let them lose more than once before we.
Well, they've lost 3 of their last 4 games.
Hey, each team has a 1-year shelf life. That was last year's team.
They're doing a lot of losing lately.
They
Corey.
are.
There are indicators.
But
not
Florida
just
State
last
needs
night.
to go ahead and beat Clemson, and then puff your chest out. You probably wouldn't even see them in Charlotte if you beat them. They're not. They might not get to Charlotte.
I wouldn't.
Not with the way Florida State played on Sunday night, man. It should not be a game, but it will be a game because
Clemson still has good players.
Clemson.
It'll be and they'll be fighting for their life. Obviously, they've got no margin for error now. But one thing I would say is that if Florida State plays its best game with these weapons, I don't think Clemson's going to win that game.
I don't think anybody on the schedule is going to win that game.
Correct. And I would say this about that: if that happens, I wouldn't even celebrate. Jog off the field. beat that ass. It's
like
over.
that
You know,
LSU DB that gave up the touchdown to Keon and just hopped up and jogged back to the
All
sideline.
right. He just like wiped off his
Hey,
hands. All right.
I
It
tried.
happens.
It happens. It's football. Competing.
Dude's a pro. What are you gonna do?
I tried.
You're the ones that put me on him.
The poor kid at the end that Jaheim Bell ran over spins out of a block just to wear an ass kicking. Yeah, that's a thing of beauty.
We talked to Jaheim Bell today, and he was pretty funny about it. He just said, he's like, look, man, because he said people were asking him, hey, man, why'd you do that guy that way? You know, the game's already over.
I would have absolutely done that guy that way. It's football.
He goes, I'm here so you can feel me.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, this is what I do. That wasn't anything.
That's you on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
That's old Ira's motto on a Saturday night.
It was pretty funny. And but that was the physicality of that game. It was cool listening to Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins talk about that today and how impressed they were by the way Jaheim finished that run, Rodney Hill, the way he finished his run, you know, the offensive line.
I think Hakeem had a pancake block on the Rodney Hill run.
Did he?
On the sideline.
Yeah. I mean, just the way they imposed their will in the second half of the game against an LSU team that, you know, you wouldn't expect that to happen.
Yeah, the physicality of the second half, they get the run game going, the adjustments.
Did either one of
at
y'all
halftime.
watch the cinematic recap thing?
I did.
The Seminoles did.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end, I thought that was very telling when Norvell's in the locker room speaking to the team before they break the rock. And he's like, I told y'all what would happen in the fourth quarter. Like not basically saying LSU quit, but basically saying LSU quit. And then he's like, and they don't have Coach Storms. They don't have a Coach Storms. Basically saying, y'all are supposed to do what you do and dominate the fourth quarter against anyone.
I got asked about it this morning on a show where they said now Florida State is no longer going to be able to sneak up on anybody. I'm like, well, I'm not so sure they could have snuck up on anybody anyhow. Their preseason ranked in the top 10.
Yeah.
They won 7 straight games going into that game last night. Everybody saw the performance of Jordan Travis at the end of last year. They know that there are some pieces in place. They all saw Keon Coleman at Michigan State. They knew that half the country wanted that kid to come play when he entered his name into the transfer portal.
I don't think people knew though about Keon. Like I'm talking about casual college football fans.
Maybe not
didn't watch a
casual
lot of
college
Michigan
fans,
State.
but I would say that coaches
any
certainly
team
knew.
you were
Any
playing,
team
yes.
you were playing knew Keon Coleman was a dude. So
like when they asked Brian Kelly after the game, had you seen much film of him? It was his first year. He's like, oh, we're well aware what Keon Coleman was.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of an athlete doesn't go overlooked by coaches and people in the industry. But one thing to say about that is, okay, I get the point that you're making. Now Florida State will be looked upon as a team that has championship expectations or aspirations. But the thing that I would say about that is Mike has repeatedly stated that none of the external expectations could be higher than the ones they have internally. And so I think he thought that they would win this game.
Yeah.
And I think he thought they might win this game kind of in the manner that they did in the second half. And then I also think he thinks they're going to beat Clemson. I also think he thinks this team could go win the national championship. And they're all businesslike about it on the regular. You just see the way they are. There's none of that euphoria, over the top, childlike enthusiasm for a win anymore. It's sort of like, okay, I mean, they were happy.
Yeah.
They enjoyed the win. Everybody does. Football's hard. But I mean,
he didn't go hop on Papuchis' shoulders.
He wasn't running off the field. It's like, this is what's supposed to happen. Those are their expectations. Since
you guys brought up the cinematic replay, I would it be too much if they started doing like replay, if they did like a cinematic, what do you call it? Cinematic, whatever they call it. Recap. They did it off like Duke's win over Clemson. Could they just do them on other teams? Like when other teams lose?
And Dabo having to walk back to the locker room, just show that for 8 minutes.
Slow-mo.
That game could not have been worse. Like it was that whole weekend was everything that he could not want to have happen. DJ Uyunglele goes and puts up 5 touchdowns, throws for 20 of 25, three touchdowns passing, 2 touchdowns running. His guy, Klubnik, was pretty terrible. They lose that game after he made the comments about having to walk to the stadium. I mean, it was just like and then the whole transfer portal thing, he loses to a team that's got a bunch of transfers. I mean, it's just everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Well, and it kind of speaks to the other narrative that had really begun to be discussed, which was that he was antiquated. His message was growing stale. It seemed disingenuous.
Oh, and his comment before the game about it being his offense or Clemson's offense, not Garrett Riley's offense.
Well, we run Clemson's offense, right? So these are all signs, all things when you pay attention to football where you go, oh, this isn't good. This isn't good. You got kids jogging off the field, not acknowledging his handshake, not any of that stuff. We had heard these rumors. We had kind of seen evidence of it at times last year. We talked a little bit about that. Maybe this was beginning to show signs of rust. it all came together last night, right?
Yeah.
They didn't look right in any phase.
And it's the night after, their biggest ACC rival. Well, their biggest rival looked like the best team in the country. And Florida State looked like the best team in the country. I don't know that they are. Alabama, Georgia didn't even really have tests. We'll see more about Alabama this weekend. But Mike Norvell's coming. Like, Florida State is on its way back, and Dabo knows that. And there is a chance. Now, again, I'm not predicting a big blowout win in Clemson. But if Florida State goes up there and handles business, well, the whole conference has shifted. And Dabo is the one that kind of looks like the game has passed him by in this new up-and-comer that has NIL and has a whole bunch of really good transfers. Is he going to make Dabo change? But again, we're far off from that. But, like, is Dabo going to go against what he said, or is he going to get out of the business?
They already made him change. I mean, the fact that he had to make some changes within his staff that he didn't want to make.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these things, it shows that at least somebody else was paying attention to the problems, and he had to at least adhere to something that was suggested to him. I don't know. I find all of it fascinating. I remember us documenting the very same thing happening to Jimbo Fisher when he was losing the program, when he was losing his grip on reality.
It took Dabo a lot longer than it took Jimbo.
Well, I'm saying my point is that you go from way up here, and then there are little signs leading into that Louisville game that they got blown out in Florida State. I was talking about some of those signs, and we had those discussions on the air where I was like, man, my fear is this thing is starting to get unraveled, and then the nation saw it.
Right.
And it always takes the national press a little bit longer. I mean, they have all the telltale signs of problem.
Well, one of the things that, to me, an overriding similarity there is, and I think this happens to a lot of coaches other than Nick Saban, is a lot of coaches, I think, forget that it's about the players. And I think Jimbo got to where he just felt like he could take any quarterback.
I'll be honest, that's what I like about the new guy at Colorado.
He's letting you know
selfless. It's just selfless.
Well, no, he's very transparent.
I'm gonna get better players. But no, I mean, the point is you look at Clemson and this whole thing with not going into the portal, it's thinking that you can do what everybody else isn't doing because you're you. And believing it's about you.
Yeah.
And I think Jimbo felt like it was about him, not the quarterbacks. And it's like, dude, you're better off getting better players. If you get better players, you're going to be a better coach. And I think sometimes coaches, when they've had success, kind of lose that. And we'll see if Kirby can sustain. But I think that's the thing. Nick didn't have to go in the portal like everybody else, but he wasn't afraid to go in the portal.
Yeah, he'll go get some guys. And I feel like if you shift it back to, Florida State, what happened on Monday night all of a sudden makes this schedule look like, well, they're going to be favored in every game. And they will be. They're going to be favored in every game. And if they play well or pretty good, honestly, in every game, well, if they're healthy, they're going to be the way they looked Sunday night. Wouldn't you say if they play pretty well in every game, they're going to be 12-0. There's nobody on their schedule that can beat Florida State at like a B+.
Yeah. Well, Corey, they didn't play great on Sunday night.
First half, they couldn't have really played worse.
They played in totality. They played pretty well.
The second half was dominating.
But I'm saying
the first half,
I mean, they could have been buried by 14.
They could have been down by 3
easily,
touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they didn't even play their best game, and they did that to LSU. That's a terrible sign for everybody facing Florida State, that this team did not play sharp. Their quarterback looked flustered for the first time in forever in the first half. You saw moments where you're like, what's going on here? This doesn't seem right. And then they obviously righted the ship and dominated the game.
6 straight possessions.
Well, and then that part of it is interesting. And I touched on it in my 3-2-1 column. Like, as you watch that game unfold, especially the second half, it's easy to say, okay, Florida State looks great. And maybe also say LSU doesn't look that good. But what if LSU is good? Yeah. Like, I mean, Alex Atkins today talking about their defensive front, which I think we all felt like was a good defensive front. He's like, that's a legit defensive front.
It is.
Well, you just put 500 yards and almost 50 points on them. And those weren't cheap drives. I mean, those were long drives where Florida State went the length of the field against that defensive front. And then you think about, okay, well, they've got an All-American wide receiver, and they've got a really talented tight end, and they've got a quarterback that's as dynamic running as there is. And that's an offense that's going to give a lot of teams trouble. So this game may be even more impressive, especially considering they didn't play well for most of the first 2 quarters as we go down the ride. Because I don't think LSU is going to go in the tank. I think they're a decent, good football team.
There's a chance that Florida State gets better. I mean, you think about, I mean, Fabo didn't hardly play. I mean, you're going to get that.
20 snaps. Yeah, Malcolm Ray played 9 more snaps than Fabian Lovett.
Right. So you're going to get a better version of him as he gets into game shape now. There's an outside chance Darrell Jackson will get the waiver at some point. If that happens, Katie, look out now. If he gets that waiver, and I don't want to do this thing, but I mean, it's kind of hard not to think about it. Knowing what Farmer is, seeing a healthy Dennis Briggs play as well as he did in this game, by the way, and then knowing that you could add to it. Ooh.
When did Katie bar the door? And what was she barring the door from?
I feel like it's a cow kicking over a lantern to start a fire, but I could be completely wrong there. I don't know who Katie is and what door she's barring. It's a good question.
I'm going to come back and explain this when we're not up against the break in just a second. I have an answer for this. Is he looking it up? Yeah.
Oh,
I'm going
to look it up. I'll look it up during the break.
Go ahead.
Katie barred the door.
I already know what it is, but I want you to go ahead and do it. You're both going to laugh at yourselves. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Now go call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast. They handle any kind of broken glass, and you know who they are.
You do know who we are. Your local family-owned glass company, proudly serving the Big Bend for over 16 years. When you have auto glass damage, don't be steered by your insurance company. Let us help you with that. Better call Seminole.
This is Dr. James Ryan Finn.
And Dr. Shannon Lord.
We are the dynamic duo at Finn Chiropractic, where we seek to get to the cause of your problem.
Whether you have neck pain, back pain, headaches, or any joint stiffness,
we've developed the Phenomenal Health Exam with some high-tech ways to get to the cause.
Our Phenomenal Health Exam will give the answers you need.
Get in for the Phenomenal Health Evaluation.
Visit our website at finnchiro.com, FENNCHIRO.com.
Because your chiropractor loves you.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Services, to call away. 222-7722. AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722. Parker Services. Conferences to call away.
Invest in a peak performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And peak performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The peak performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. And now offering electrical services too.
Parker Services. Conferences to call away.
Florida license number CMC 050334.
Passion for culture, passion for flavor, and passion for people. An unparalleled culinary experience awaits you at Café de Martín and El Bar. And it's not just for dinner. Spice up your weekday lunch routine with exciting specials and memorable Peruvian flavors like the arroz chaufa, stir-fried rice with green onions, snow peas, red peppers, and eggs with your choice of protein. Or enjoy a fresh, flavorful campesino salad with mixed greens, avocado, jalapenos, carrots, cherry tomatoes, and topped with our famous chicken salad served with a creamy vinaigrette dressing. And now, Café de Martín is Tallahassee's favorite new spot for brunch. Every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. with the best authentic Peruvian dishes in the city, matched with handmade artisan cocktails and our exclusive Buy Two, Save Two Mimosa Special. Save $2 when you order 2 mimosas. The most memorable and unique culinary experience in the capital city is Café de Martín and El Bar. Open for lunch, dinner, happy hour, and brunch on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Online at cafedemartin.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Florida State up to number 2. Is that right, boys?
I thought it was number 5. Is it 2?
Oh, man,
no, number 5.
Okay.
In the coaches poll.
What are you, I mean,
Somebody in the chat just said we're ranked number 2. I looked at it. I gave this guy credit.
Yeah. He says it in the chat, but from what according to Tom Lang, number 5 in the coaches poll, and the AP poll is supposed to come out at 2:00. So we'll have that for you.
I'm not overly worried about where Florida State's ranked.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
But
keep on winning, you'll be ranked where you need to be ranked.
It will be pretty cool to have to watch that playoff committee stuff again. Like, it's been a long time since. I mean, I'm not saying I liked it.
Yeah, it sucks.
But the experience last time was
it's
so
cool to
awful.
care about it. Yeah.
In 2014, you just wanted to strangle somebody every week.
I haven't watched it since Game Control, so I don't know if they've made any adjustments.
I don't think Game Control has been mentioned one time since that season.
Was a one and only. It was a
made
one-off.
for that 1 year.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I haven't watched it either. When I have, I've been angry. So I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. This is dumb.
But now you might have to again because you'll care. You'll at least care. You'll have a vested interest.
They're clarifying in the chat. They're number 2 in the ESPN PFI, whatever that is.
Whatever the hell that is.
So,
none of that matters. Keep winning.
Yeah.
If you go 12-0 and dominate this group, you're going to be right where you need to be.
Katie barred the door.
Yeah, there it is.
By the way, no idea where there's
17 different answers.
Yeah, Google it yourselves if you want to know. There's no
consensus
on where that thing came from.
But I will say for fans, it is fun to see a number 2 or a 3 or a 4 next to your name as a top 5 program again.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. And so seeing that now come to fruition, they're not going to lose to Southern Miss this weekend, guys.
Oh, okay. You're already calling it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and call my shot.
Southern
here.
Miss is a bowl team.
I like our chances
to
go ahead and win this game this weekend.
And the other nice thing is it's not just a ranking that is just a cheap Florida State ranking. Like in the 2000s, a lot of times Florida State would start the season. Yeah. And like going back to 2017, they were number 3 in the country preseason. That was ridiculous. They ended up getting beaten by Alabama, and then the season was over. 2016, they were in the top 5 like 2 or 3 weeks in, but then they got beat by 100 by Lamar Jackson. So like that team wasn't very good either. Ended up having a decent season, but I feel
they were
like
a top 10 team. They weren't top.
They weren't number 2 or
3.
3.
Yeah.
But this feels like it could be a top 5 team.
Well, because they've had to do it on their own merits,
right,
not on what teams of the past did. And it's Florida State. Let's rank them high. That's not happening right now. It might next year, but right now it's not happening.
Well, I think people around the country certainly gave Florida State their just due.
Yeah.
After this game, I mean, they could see. I mean, the number one comment you hear from the passive fan or somebody who watched, perhaps from afar, is man, when did Florida State get so many dudes? Like just looking out on the field, they can see that's a pro, 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 that's a pro. They haven't been able to say that in a long time.
Yep.
Last year they had one guy drafted.
Yeah, and the year before they had one guy drafted.
Yeah, next year could be 10 to 12.
Yep, and there was nothing fluky about that second half either. In fact, it was LSU had a chance if they'd have taken care of business in the first half to at least win that game or make it competitive. But when it was only 3 points and Florida State played like it's capable of playing, LSU didn't belong on the field with Florida State.
I was afraid with Duke last night that they blew opportunities in that game, and I thought, oh man, you're going to fool around and then
you
lose
keep
this
kicking
game.
field goals inside the 10.
LSU had numerous opportunities to make this a much more daunting task for Florida State in the second half. Didn't capitalize and thus paid a dear price.
Yeah.
I mean, you really, if you think about it, and it's weird. I know that it's about us. It's about Florida State. If you look at it from a garnet and gold perspective, but it has to be so strange for LSU fans after that game to hear Brian Kelly. I brought this up yesterday, and he's exactly right. I thought it was so odd the way that he kind of rolled his players and acted as if he didn't have a sense for who they were. Well, man, you talk about them coming out flat, mistaking themselves for Georgia.
Right.
Buddy.
How does that happen?
How does that happen?
You're the head coach.
It's 17-14. It's not 28 to nothing. You didn't. It's 17-14. The other team's good. They just beat you a year ago.
And the 2 drives Florida State had were not fluky drives.
Right. So they're capable. Yeah. So you're watching that. You can see their players. Why are you flat? Why are the players coming out and why do you not know it?
And you lost to the same team last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's bumfuzzled. He's sitting over there. I don't know who we thought we were. Well, dude, what did you say to them at half?
Well, and what did you say at a booster club meeting 3 nights before the game? Hey, buddy, that might not have been a great idea. And then, just the way he called the game, I just thought he was so cavalier with everything. The way he kept kicking off or kept returning the kickoffs. And then finally they fair catch it, towards the end. But it's like, dude, you're starting every drive at the 12 or 15-yard line because Florida State's kickoff coverage unit is really freaking good.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and then going for it and some of the play calls. I mean, I think he thought they were a much better football team. And I also think he thought Jaden Daniels was a much better quarterback based on what they've seen in practice. But that goes back to, well, maybe your secondary is not very good.
Maybe your corners aren't very good. I would also say, though, the other reason he should not have had that arrogance that we're talking about, at least not after the game kicked off, is that at no point did LSU line up and run the ball conventionally
at all.
No,
they
had
had
11
zero success.
Other than that ridiculous draw
135-yard
they
run.
allowed, which was just so ridiculous. They allowed that draw. I was still kind of mad about it because everybody knew it was coming. They weren't going to anyway.
But the point would be they
But
had
other
one
than that-
long run,
Other
and
than
that's
that,
it.
those running backs had 11 carries for 14 yards.
That's right.
11 for 14 yards in the traditional running game by LSU against Florida State's defensive front.
So my point would be, if you're getting manhandled in the trenches,
And no sacks by that defensive front.
right? You're getting manhandled in the trenches, and you what are you thinking as you go to halftime? This is going to be a breeze? Like
Yeah.
I'm confused. Like, you couldn't run the ball unless Jaden Daniels took off. Well, that's a problem for them, by the way, because they do play in the SEC. And there's plenty of good defensive lines. Like, this is going to be a long time
exactly.
problem here. Yeah,
and he's going to get that quarterback killed. I mean, he ran him a lot.
it's the only thing he could do, though. He was thinking,
It's the only way they could run.
But man, that's a long season to be doing that, buddy.
well,
He did it last year. I mean, he ran for 850 yards last year and played. They also got a pretty good backup.
well, maybe he wants Nussmeier to start.
I was gonna say,
seriously,
could be.
maybe he does. Who knows? He's like, I'm going to run this guy until he's dead.
But it was just like, it was pretty obvious. It's what we thought. Jaden Daniels is a pretty good quarterback. He's a pretty good quarterback. He's not Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis is a better quarterback. He doesn't maybe run quite as well as Jaden Daniels, but he does everything else much better.
But he's so much better about avoiding pressure, but still looking downfield to make those throws. And then, look, man, Keon Coleman is a stud. He's a
star. Man. He's a star. Yeah.
Everything Florida State fans could have ever hoped he would be and more. But Jordan also made some great throws. Like, those were, great throws.
Those
and
two
catches.
have a thing, man. There's a lot of trust.
Yeah.
A lot of trust right there.
Well, because if you look on that, the second touchdown,
he's wide open on the other side.
Destin Hill's like, I'm here, man. I'm at the
right
10 and
here.
nobody's near me.
Yeah.
And Jordan Travis still throws the
Because he
one-on-one
knows
jump ball
Keon's going to go get it.
because it's Keon Coleman.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that is probably the most remarkable thing about Coleman's acclamation to this program is that he came here ready to work, hit the ground running, and put all the time in to learn the offense. It gets back to being a pro. Like, he strikes me as a pro.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is also what you touched on earlier is the fact that they've got some weapons that didn't even get used in that game, and Destin Hill is one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Destin Hill, I'll be surprised if Destin Hill doesn't have 4 or 5 60-yard plays this year.
I agree with you.
He's going to have some huge plays for this team, and people didn't even get to see him.
Yeah,
really.
I saw him jump to try to make the one catch early in the game, and it was a nice play by the DB, and he hit hard, and I wondered if he was jarred a little bit there. But this is also something we described, that there are going to be games where some of these weapons just don't get utilized because it's open for other guys or somebody else is making plays. And, that's just you got to be willing to live with that. You got to understand that, the next Saturday you could have 7 catches for 162. And then the next week it's Keon's day, or it's, Johnny Wilson's day, or Jaheim Bell's day. It's just there are going to be so many times where you just don't have enough footballs to spread around.
Yeah, and also, like, Vandrevius didn't even play. Hakeem played at the very end, knocking a guy on his butt. But they're developing guys that Vandrevius Jacobs has a chance to be a star.
Yeah.
Destin Hill has a chance to be a star. They were non-factors in the game. Rodney Hill might be, and Rodney Hill was a factor. In fact, I thought he ran better than RB1 for a large portion of that game. Now, he came in the second half when they're a little bit worn down. Got to see Trey play better than that. But overall, like, that's where you get excited. It's not just a 2-horse show at wide receiver or in the skill position period. Jaheim is Jaheim. Trey Benson, or Toa Feely, just every game, every big game, he's going to make a play.
Love the patience that Toa Feely had too.
Yes.
By
It
the
wasn't
way.
just-
the patience was really.
It
important.
wasn't just the one catch
No.
he had. I mean, he
On
made
that
some
run,
nice
the run
runs.
you're talking about.
A lot
He
of
ends up
patience.
getting like 6 or 7 yards on that because he was really patient.
I was proud of him for
But
that.
that's what you can't when you think about one of those 90s teams. What was always cool as a fan watching those teams is, yeah, Peter Warwick and Ron Dugan's are going to go make plays. I want to go see what Anquan does when they get a big lead.
Yeah.
I think Vandrevius, Destin, I think, is more a guy that's going to be playing more with the starters that he did on Sunday. But Vandrevius and Hakeem are guys you're going to want to watch when these games get out of hand, because they're going to go make plays and they're going to go make opposing DBs look silly. That wide receiver core, if it can stay healthy, is really unique. And also the tight ends are
huge
good.
catch for Winston, right?
Yeah, really big.
I mean, that was
one of the biggest catches of the
huge.
game. Yeah, really it was.
And how happy was everybody in that moment? It was so cool to see the players, how happy they were for him. And I think the fans certainly like, oh, that's cool. I mean, think of the road back for him.
By the way, this guy, and I'm going to have to start doing it. every time Johnny Wilson drops a pass,
It was the second time.
he's going to text me. 'Cause
I
he did
texted
it-
him specifically.
He did it in the
I
Florida
do it to
game.
him,
He
yeah.
did it in the Florida game. He didn't text me at all in the Oklahoma game.
Yes, it did.
What?
Early in the Oklahoma game.
Oh, after he dropped another one?
He had several drops in that game.
He
He,
had
had
one drop.
400 yards.
He had one huge drop. But it's like, I'm not going to text you every time he makes a catch.
No, I know. I do it to piss you off.
Oh, okay, well, good.
Because
it
you
works.
said something last time, so I'm like, I'm going to keep doing this.
Good old Johnny Wilson is
That's
what
all
he
I
texts.
type. I type it every
Yeah,
time. Good
yeah.
old Johnny Wilson.
Yeah.
Although my man, catch the ball.
He also finished with 7 for 100.
7
But
for
that's what
100.
he is.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Well,
No, that is what he is.
we said he would be better this year.
No, I think he will be
We'll
better over the
see.
course of the year. But if he look, man, if that wasn't
He's
part of
a
his
plus
game,
player.
he would be in the NFL today.
Yeah.
But it is,
I
and
got-
we want
yeah.
him to be better
For
and more
sure.
consistent, and we
For
all
sure.
talked about that. And so
Right now, he's 7 out of 9, which is a pretty good free throw percentage.
Yeah.
It's not a
No, you
great
don't-
catch.
Listen. He's such a good player and a plus player that you don't have to make excuses. Catch the ball.
No,
man.
I'm saying.
Those
what-
are first downs.
He's
dropping.
7 out of 9. He's always
No,
going to be
and-
8 out of 9 or 9 out of 11. It's who he is.
But yeah, you don't want to excuse it because I do think that was part of the reason Jordan was a little bit off because I don't think Jordan got off until you start having drop passes and then you start having some pressure and then the running backs aren't hitting the right holes.
Well, you've seen
and
games
things-
where it can put you in a
Yeah, it
behind
puts
the
you
eight
in a-
ball.
it puts you in a spot.
Yeah.
Like Johnny drops the first one. That's a first down play.
Yeah.
But
They're
it's
both
it's-
first downs.
But no, I'm saying it was 1st and 10.
Right.
And it would have been an 8-yard. It's 2nd and 2. It changes everything.
Yes.
And then the next
third
one is a
down's
3rd and 4,
right
and it's
here.
right there. And all of a sudden you're punting again. And it's like,
But
you-
that's I
And
just
then
want
that
to
leads to
clarify.
a quarterback forcing a throw and trying
Correct.
to make something happen,
And
which
in
is why that
games-
game could have gone sideways.
In games where it's close, like you had that happen against Florida, you had that happen. So like it didn't have to be that way. And my point is, he's too good. I don't know if he can fix it because if he has, maybe he will the rest of the year. We got a lot of games to play, and I'm rooting for it to happen. I mean, we're just that much better if he catches the ball. But I mean, I'm rooting for that.
if he catches it just at an average rate.
Logan in the chat brought up the Mike Evans comparison, and I think that's
Yeah,
pretty
Mike
fair.
Evans early on was that he would make these.
Mike drives me nuts.
He'd have 5 for 122.
But you love him a lot of Sundays.
He would
I
drop.
do. And Mike's a little bit better.
No, he
talented.
is.
But he would drop a 3rd and 11 or a 2nd and 10 that would have been a 21-yard gain.
Yes,
and all of a
yes,
sudden,
he would.
Jameis is throwing a pick on the next play because it's 3rd and long. And you hope Johnny gets through that. But at the end of the day, if you're going to have 2 receivers that are look,
Oh,
they
they're
just
a matchup nightmare.
and they
This-
can't be
yeah.
covered. Either one of them can't be covered. Your only hope is that Johnny Wilson drops the ball.
I can't believe that game's been over for 3 days and you haven't come up with a nickname for those two.
Oh,
I mean,
for Johnny,
you came
and
up with a
Keon?
nickname for Tofili and whoever the other running back
Webb.
was, and
Webb.
Webb
and those
toe.
guys when they're losing every week. But
Yeah.
you can't come up with a nickname for
What was it?
6,
Ladainian
7,
Webb,
6
right?
yeah.
Give me it during the
Spitball
break.
that.
I haven't even thought about that.
Well, I don't want you to spur of the moment this thing. It's
No,
too
it's
important.
got to be.
don't
It's
come
too
with-
important.
It's
don't-
too important.
It's
don't-
way too important to just come up with something cavalier.
Yeah.
I've got to give it some time.
Don't give it Twin Towers. Just don't even.
No.
No,
Man.
Ira, what in the world?
Well,
I'm just,
you know,
I'm just cautioning.
Also, it's been used. The Houston Rockets had the Twin
Yeah,
Towers
yeah.
back in the day.
Back in the
before
day.
9/11.
Samson and Elijah.
Yeah,
Wan.
that's
You
right.
can't play that kind of style of basketball anymore with the 2-7-2 guys.
We're gonna park
Unless they're shooting
2-7.
threes.
Yeah, well, right.
Yeah, unless they're shooting threes. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
The Decatur County Sheriff's Office is searching for a man wanted on several charges. Casey Hyatt is described as standing at 5'11" and weighing 150 pounds. He has brown hair and eyes. He is wanted on the following charges: felony theft by taking, felony possession of a controlled substance, misdemeanor obstruction of an officer, and misdemeanor fleeing and eluding, misdemeanor driving without insurance, and misdemeanor driving with a suspended license. Hyatt was last seen in the Fayetteville community in Decatur County. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to contact the Sheriff's Office at 229-400-8027. Tri-County Electric Cooperative is working to restore power in the Big Bend, and as larger outages are restored, smaller isolated outages are likely. All employees of mutual aid crews will continue to work from sunup to sundown 7 days a week until all power is restored. Member service support will remain available 24 hours a day. This is Rachel Lene with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. High temperatures reach up to 92 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies, east winds around 5 miles per hour. Lows around 71 tonight, clear skies. Highs around 94 tomorrow, mainly clear. Chance for scattered thunderstorms Thursday and Friday. Mid-90s Thursday, low 90s by Friday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 91.
The kids are back in school, and that means more homework, more projects, more research, and more screen time for the kids. These days, you can't get much done without using a phone, tablet, or computer, so you'll need all your devices working properly. Macklemore Systems is here to help. Not only can you get repairs, upgrades, and replacements, but you can also get expert advice, guidance, and consultations on how to maximize the use of your Apple gear. The Trapper Keepers are gone, and in this digital world, Macklemore Systems are your digital experts. Online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Dana Brooks of Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu. Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff?
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Got a lot of votes. Portal Powers, Truth and Consequence.
That's okay.
Truth and Consequence is nice.
The Skywalkers from Briley was pretty good. Skywalkers is pretty good.
Skywalkers is good.
What about the ball catching brothers?
No, that's terrible.
Okay.
Was that from you?
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, it was cool.
I mean, brothers like brothers as teammates.
I don't care how you meant it. It sucked.
It's just silly.
I know it was a joke anyway, but I don't want people to.
By the way, we haven't addressed it. We did last night on the Sunday Smash, and I'm sure you guys did on your podcast. But man, that was the events over the weekend in Orlando were awesome. We got to meet so many cool people. Florida State fans that some of them we've met before, but a lot of them we haven't. And it was a great time, man. It was, you know, I kind of wondered what the vibe would be like. Cause New Orleans was incredible last year because it was just, you know, it's New Orleans.
Right. Been 20 years. People were fired up. Yeah.
So I kind of was curious about Orlando, but the Noles turned out, man. Like, and you had a feeling at the Saturday event when you didn't see really any LSU people downtown at all. That was the first time I realized, well, LSU may not be coming to this game.
Because it wasn't necessarily, like our thing was a Florida State-centric thing, and there was another party that was a Florida State-centric thing, but it was a block party for the whole city,
right?
For everybody to come, and it was 35-1 Florida State to LSU fans, maybe 50-1.
I asked Ira this last night on the Smash. Why do you think Brian Kelly brought it up more than once? Before the game started,
I think he was angry because of last year in the Dome that he didn't get a home field advantage.
I think he may have just found this out because I don't think they real. You know, I don't know how I meant to ask somebody. Like I don't know what the machinations of the sales were. You know, like a lot of times, you know, in a bowl game, each school gets the same amount of tickets.
Exactly.
But if these were sold like through the venue or through they may not have had an idea how many fans from each school were going to be there. Cause I wasn't hearing people saying, oh yeah, Florida State's going to have 80% or more of the fans there. So it may have been something like he just found out recently and was like, what the hell?
He found out when he walked in and looked up.
Yeah.
Well, he said something in the pregame mic. They had him mic'd up, and he was talking about it. Then he said something in the interview as well right before they kicked it off with Holly.
I think he was surprised. And it speaks to
strange that you'd be that scared about the damn crowd.
Well, it may have just been irritated. Like, why are our fans not coming to
Notre
this game?
Dame would have been here is probably what he was saying to himself. I should go back to Notre Dame.
Because if you looked at in the way they did it, like, I think it was so like on the website, it was like, this is the LSU side, this is the Florida State side. But Noles just bought all the LSU tickets too.
We were like, go to hell. You're not coming. There was like, it was 80-20. I mean, I
it absolutely was.
Yeah, I was in the stands. I could hear, just how loud that was. You barely heard a peep out of LSU.
There's a lot of boos when they ran onto the field to LSU too. Like, it drowned them out. Like, it was a road game for them for the most part.
Without question.
And I do think it was because last year it was about as 50-50 as you could get. And Brian Kelly's like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. And he doesn't understand that Florida State was starved to go back to New Orleans. It was the biggest opener they'd had in a long time. People made a trip out of it. LSU goes there all the time. It's just Florida State fans were really excited about last year's game.
But it's the one school in that state.
Yes.
And you would think it's the one Power 5 school in that state. You would think, you hired Brian Kelly, you just spent a fortune to get Notre Dame's head coach.
Yeah. It's a revenge game and everything else.
And then going into this year, they're number 5 in the country. But I think it speaks to
now
maybe
Florida
some
State
arrogance.
is number 5 in the country.
That's right. Maybe some arrogance in their fan base thinking, we're going to have other big games and might need to save that money for the playoff.
Well, you're not going to the playoff.
Well, now they can get maybe indoor plumbing.
Good grief, Ira, that was a Jeff Cameron comment. I don't even think Jeff would have said something like that.
Hell of a slight for those poor.
You can buy some extra Endui.
That's a better thing to say than indoor plumbing or a book to learn how to read.
Better roads.
Yeah, any roads.
Speaking of the disrespect, I love the fact that the Florida State guy, so like Jaheim Bell, he has that hit on that kid, and he was pretty funny. We talked.
Added him.
That's what I was going to say.
That's
so
so
Jaheim
awesome.
Bell goes on Instagram and tags the kid that he ran over on Instagram.
Oh boy,
which is awesome because he'll never see that kid.
Also, it's like Florida State is now just going to fully embrace. It took one season and one game for Florida State to just be like, come suck it. We don't care if you hate us. We're the villain again. We'll be Darth Vader and just go out and do all this stuff.
Bill of the People writes, after that game last night, is it right to think maybe Duke will be a bigger concern than Clemson this year? I don't think it's right to do that after one game, but
you got to pay attention to Duke.
Yeah, you do. I said in the preseason, we all know Duke won 9 games last year. Elko's a good coach. They play good defense. You got to beat them. But you should beat them.
You should, but they have a good quarterback apparently. First round mocked by Kuiper. I didn't realize he was that kind of player. And they're going to be that's going to be a well-coached defense, and they certainly look better than they've ever looked.
Robert writes, not a bad day at the office on Sunday. Rewatching the game, the biggest takeaway was that it still wasn't our A game. Looking ahead, how would you power rank our remaining Power 5 opponents after week 1? And week 1's always hard, right? I mean, Florida's in trouble.
Yeah.
I think that's not even a real good Utah team either. And I like that Utah
that was their
program.
backup quarterback.
Well, they had 8 guys missing.
Man, one of my buddies who's a Gator fan, his family's had tickets for 40 years. And it's low doesn't even begin to the despair is unbelievable.
Most of the time, fans, the two fan bases, you think Florida State fans, Florida fans, kind of compare and contrast where they are based on where the other is.
Oh, and that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. That's why it was so bad during the end of Bowden's time. No, during the end of Bowden's time when you got Urban and
taking
that
a knee at
team,
halftime and doing
they were the best team in the country, and you were going 6-6 every year.
If they're just 8-4, it's not. You can more tolerable.
You live with it. Yeah. But part of being down and being able to handle that and stomach it is that Miami wasn't any good while we were down. Kind of like, okay, well, they suck too. But it hurts if one of your rivals is ascending right before your eyes, and it's
climbing,
overwhelmingly evident. Because I have some friends, and I'm like, what do you think? Good weekend of college football, guys, and they're, I'm being an ass, and they're like, it's week 1. I'm like, you know what time it is. You know what time it is, guys. You saw it. It hurts. Just go ahead and say it. Yeah. Your man's not gaining any traction right now down in Gainesville, so that recruiting class is going to go to hell in a handbasket real quick.
Whew. That's another saying.
Hell in a handbasket?
I wonder if Katie came up with that one when she was barring the door. Hell in a handbasket. What does that even mean? It's probably from some poem.
And so it's just, it's a beautiful thing when it happens. And it typically does kind of happen that way, right? Somebody else in the state, one of the power programs is down, and you're able to reap the benefit if you're operating at peak efficiency. So now they seem to be.
Yeah, man. And Florida State, that 2024 recruiting class, which is already, I mean, they're top 5 in the recruiting rankings. They don't have a ton of spots left. I mean, they've only got maybe like 4, 5, 6 spots left, whatever it is. But there's a couple kids that are committed to Florida or considering Florida State now may be able to pick up, especially if they have a huge season and Florida doesn't. And I mean, man, just the comments, Florida State, you can't pay for the publicity they're getting on social media from their committed players. You got Charles Lester and KJ Bolden and these 5-star guys doing all these tweets about why would you want to go anywhere else?
And also you've got Jalen Ramsey and Jameis Winston, and Dalvin, and the guys that are in the league that these guys still look up to that are all in on this Florida State team. Now, it took beating the crap out of LSU or a 10-win season last year, but you think about where this, again, I can't get over the fact that it was less than 2 years ago. We were going into this week was Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
Was 24 months ago.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about the number 5 team in the country. I didn't know if this was ever going to happen again while we did this show. I thought it would. There was potential, but you didn't know. Jacksonville State was as low as you could go. Actually, the first half against Louisville 2 weeks later was about as low as you could go when you're down 31-7 to a not very good Louisville team. But in that short amount of time to now be talking about the number 5 team in the country, I want to enjoy it more than I did in 12 and 13 after the law, because we were down further as a show in 18 and 19 and 20. We had to live through worse than we did.
What the hell were we talking? I need to go back and listen to those shows. But
exactly right. Like, what could we have said?
We didn't really answer Robert's question though. Like, so ranking the Power 5 opponents. I still think Clemson's probably still number 1, right? I mean, that's still. I don't know,
because it's a road
game.
It's
also hard to say after week 1.
Yeah,
I would say this.
Pitt's up there. That was going to be a good
Pitt's
game.
a good team.
Duke's
here. You ought to win the game. I still think that even though Florida State will win the game, I think Miami's in for a good year. I think they're going to play well.
Their offensive line, I think, is legit.
This week will be a good test for them too.
Both those teams are tested this weekend.
That game? Is that an afternoon game? Do you know?
All I know is that because we're going to be doing the pregame show, we're going to get the first half. So it's what time of the kickoff is Southern Miss's night?
8:30.
8:30. So
night. It's almost midnight.
Yeah.
Night.
So Tom and I were talking about the fact that we wanted to watch the culture clash that is Texas A&M rolling down to Miami. Holy moly!
Those fans.
Can you imagine those two fan bases?
Yeah,
that is the greatest social experiment of all time.
If there's any way, like, if we could come up with the money, or if John Ruiz, if he's still got some money, if he's walking free, if he could come up with the money and hire the pep talk guys, whatever that is, the singing guys, have them go perform somewhere in Miami,
like pork and beans.
Like, have them just do like
I want them in the parking lot outside the game.
There,
that's
not
there.
bad.
That's what I want. There it is.
Yes.
I want them at Hard Rock doing their little stupid dance, slapping their own ass and doing all that,
saying something. That would be. I mean,
yucking it up. Yeah.
Oh, that would be
I'm
incredible.
telling you, this is it. It's all time great.
Yeah, that would be like the scene in Revenge of the Nerds when the football team comes up at the end and all the other Lambda guys are waiting for him. That's exactly what that would look like. Guys, that's a 40-year-old
Let's make it happen.
movie reference, but if you get it, it works.
Yeah, so we answered the question, I guess. Week 1, it's awfully difficult. Tatum Bethune's hit on Daniels gave me old Seminole defense vibes. It was like making a statement that this defense is going to come to play and play hard. Yeah, Mark, I love it, but I got to tell you, I don't think too many people are going to be silly enough to just decide, what is he doing?
He wasn't even jumping for a first down.
You're just begging to get drilled.
It wasn't 2nd and 1 or 4th and 1. It was 1st and 10, I think, and he just jumped into the line.
Asking to get pulverized.
Like he thought he was going to pick him up like in Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, like just hold him
just hold him up and they start playing the song.
I've had the time of my life.
That was another mid-80s reference.
I'm good for Tatum Bethune, though. And
that was a great hit.
But also,
and it was a good tackle on 4th down. He had to essentially seal the deal.
Really quickly, though, I want to ask you this before time's up in the hour. What did that official have to say to him? What is he so scared about? Why did he clutch his pearls and come racing in to yell at Tatum Bethune? And get a hold of yourself. Yeah. It's football.
It was almost like they thought this was like the Darnell Dockett Florida State team or something. Like that he was like they had a reputation of like hurting people. The way they called that whole first half was crazy.
Bizarre. Like, I think they were really afraid that the tensions were high and the game could get out of hand. So when in doubt early, They threw. I mean,
And if they're Big
man.
12 refs, how many hits are they seeing?
Not me.
Yeah, that's right.
Not me. They're not used to that kind of stuff there.
But that was strange to me. Like, he came racing in there as if he was offended by the hit himself
Yeah,
personally.
Hey, settle down there. We don't do all that on a
Whoa,
football
that wasn't
field.
necessary.
And it's the quarterback jump. The quarterback that, by the way, ran for 70-something yards, was their only running threat. You picked up and body slammed them, and you're getting all. It wasn't nearly as vicious, or it was as vicious. It was an incredible hit. But what Perkins did to Toafili at the one, why didn't he rush after Perkins?
Yeah.
He threw him down like a child.
Yeah.
I mean, he did. And that was a great play by Toafili. But Perkins, man.
He's a strong dude.
Yeah, and fast.
Kind of launched him. And
yeah.
They've done a good job of neutralizing him.
They did. They did a really good job of neutralizing. Perkins, LSU coaches did. I
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Florida State did a good job too, but LSU certainly has. That reeks of a situation where you've promised this kid you're going to prepare him for the NFL.
Thank you. That's what I thought.
But that's not helping you win this football game.
Man,
at halftime they should have changed that up.
I would have been like, look, hey man, I know what you want to do, but we're trying to win
work
a
on that
football
later
game.
in the season.
Yeah, we're trying to win a football game out here. We need you coming off the edge and getting pressure on the passer like you did to terrorize SEC opponents all of last year once we figured out who you were.
Yeah.
It was weird to me. There's a lot LSU fans are accounting for today.
Oh man. They cannot be happy.
I mean, year 2, you're supposed to take a huge leap forward. Now, I want to credit Florida State for doing that to LSU, but man, some of the decisions that LSU made going into this game, it's very surprising. And again, I think that they probably thought they'd have more success running the ball traditionally. That's a pretty good offensive line. I want to give Florida State's defensive line more credit than to rip LSU.
That's
what
I'm really curious about. Yeah, some people thought that might have been like the 3rd best offensive line in the SEC. And if Florida State did that to them when they tried to run the football, that could.
Those 2 tackles are going to the league, first of all. I mean, the one kid who was a freshman last year and is sophomore, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
And he did about as well as anybody's ever going to do against Verse.
And they had that Miles Frazier kid that Florida State really wanted badly. He's a good player too. And they when you think about the sack yardage and then the way they couldn't run the ball at all, that was the defensive line, man. What was cool is they rotated so many guys. Like Malcolm Ray had the 2nd most reps of anybody on the D line. I think it was Verse and then him. I think he had more than Fisk, or maybe it was Verse, Fisk, and then Malcolm
Fisk
Ray.
only had like 33 or something.
And Malcolm Ray had 20. But they rotate a lot, which is a good thing. They have guys they can play.
Long year.
The ability to rotate and not see a significant drop off.
No, those guys made plays. Briggs made plays.
He did.
Edmund made a play. Edmund got pressure a couple times and also made that the stop like a 4-yard loss.
I don't know what they were doing on the right side with that play. He did set the edge, but the kid ran. I mean, there was a mistake there. I mean, I want to give Gilbert credit, but I mean, the dude ran right to him. He just slammed him down. I was like, okay, that can't be the scheme. I mean, I think somebody's got to do something.
Maybe they thought he'd be on his back or something.
I don't know what they thought they were going to do there. Hour number 2 forthcoming. We'll get to your headliner questions momentarily. Hang in there, everybody.
Orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Attention radio listeners, this is a Foodies Takeout and Delivery new restaurant alert. Now available for takeout and delivery from foodiestakeout.com. The Hawthorne Bistro, Jerry's Love on a Plate, Coach's Pizza, Munchie's Pizza, Red Eye Coffee, Lofty Pursuits, OG Subs, Dave's Pizza Garage, Sakura Sushi, and many more. Find a complete list of locally owned restaurants offering takeout and delivery at foodiestakeout.com. That's foodiestakeout.com. Don't just shop local, order local.
There's no doubt that buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and of course, the price. Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. But there's good news. You have our friends at Legendary Home Loans, and they're on your side and in your corner. They're going to go to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment. For first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers. And that's not all. Shannon is an expert navigator of the home loan terrain, and you can trust that he's going to get you the most competitive interest rates and guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus, Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young.
NMLS number 2270-146.
Thank you for calling the Medicare Help Desk. How can we help you?
Can you help me choose the right coverage for myself and my wife?
We sure can. We can help you choose from Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or standalone prescription drug plans from over 30 different insurance carriers.
How much does it cost? We have a fixed income and can't afford extra expenses.
At the Medicare Help Desk, the consultation is completely free. We are here to help.
Thank you, Medicare Help Desk.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. In my 17 years of experience, I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk, a place for you to get clear answers to all your questions and make sense of all the confusion. I've helped thousands of clients, and I live right here in Tallahassee with my family. I am active in my church and wish to help and serve my community. If you need help navigating the Medicare landscape, I'm easy to find. Just visit the MedicareHelpDesk.com. That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Looking ahead to the first weekend of NFL football on Sunday, the Jaguars go to Indianapolis to play the Colts. Jacksonville, a 5-point favorite. Minnesota, a 6-point favorite as they host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Chargers, they are favored by 3 at home against the Dolphins. In baseball tonight, Marlins and Dodgers opening up a series against each other. Clayton Kershaw against Jesus Luzardo. The Dodgers are considered minus 158 favorites. The Marlins are paying at plus 134. And the Tampa Bay Rays continue their series against the Red Sox after losing yesterday. Zach Eflin starting tonight. The Rays are minus 162 favorites. The Red Sox pay at plus 136. For the latest odds all the time, visit vsin.com. I'm Matt Pauley. This has been your action update on Tallahassee's Real Talk station, Real Talk 93.3.
$10 says your local Staples now accepts Amazon returns. $10 says you can make those returns at Staples 7 days a week. $10 says you'll get in and out fast and easy. $10 says when you make an Amazon return at Staples, you'll get $10 off your Staples purchase of $30 or more. $10 says it's pretty cool to get $10 to spend on something you want just for returning something you don't. $10 says Staples will be your new favorite place for Amazon returns. $10 says you knew I was going to say $10 says. Offer good in store only. Exclusions apply.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos, and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze fruit-on-the-go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Oh, Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out the best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
Is joint pain, soreness, and achiness getting in the way of your best life? Football legend Emmitt Smith refuses to back down to pain. That's why he's a huge advocate for QC Kinetics and their natural approach to getting you relief.
Look, we get one trip around, so I wouldn't ever let pain stop me from hanging out with my race team, traveling with my family, or golfing with my friends.
Emmitt's got it right. And QC Kinetics uses regenerative medicine to relieve that never-ending pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back. And the best news, there's nothing foreign being introduced into your body. Just your own body's natural healing properties. No surgery or no downtime.
If pain's holding you back, maybe it's tennis, pickleball, running, hiking, or spending time with special people in your life, what are you waiting for? This is precious time. Get out there and get over to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 850-391-4280. That's 850-391-4280. 850-391-4280.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines. Headliner questions coming your way. 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Before we get the hour underway with those questions, let's thank our friends at Birch Orthodontics. Always, Dr. Birch and her staff, the best and the business. We appreciate their support, and you would too if your child or maybe you yourself have needs, orthodontic needs. Go see Dr. Birch, her great staff, talk you through it, ease your fears, all that good stuff. It's Birch Orthodontics.
And Dr. Birch, I can't remember what year we started promoting Birch Orthodontics, but it's been a while. I think she was here for some of those wins. She might have been nationally ranked in the top 10.
I think but not number 4. I don't think she ever got up to number 4. Maybe. I think that was a post.
She should have been.
She should have been. Well, she's number 1 in our hearts. We all know that. But Florida State is now number 4 in the AP poll, and
finally it representing
Dr. Birch's watch. Yeah, it's the greatness that Dr. Birch is. Absolutely.
BirchOrthodontics.com is a website. You can go and schedule a free consultation. They do tremendous work, incredible work. Our kids have gone there, and I could not be more highly recommended. And they also do great things for the community. She donates to the schools constantly. She's donated to several causes. If you go to their website or social media, you can see some of the causes. And she's actually raising funds for 5 local charities that we would love it if you guys would support them as well.
You know what I like, Ira? I like that when I go to your Twitter feed here when we do this segment, that I have to sift through all the Oriole tweets.
That's not true.
Yeah.
There's always one or two. There's always
the restraint I have shown.
Right.
The restraint I have shown.
Restraint.
You say let's go O's after every win, and they win all the time.
Well, they do. The 35 games over 500.
Yeah, I know. That's a lot of wins.
But there's so many plays that
I know that you want to tweet about. Yeah, I got you.
So you're used to this, man. Like the Braves have been good forever.
Don't even tweet about them.
So why would you need to?
Don't need to.
But people need to know about the Orioles.
Brandon writes, after watching all of the preseason camp, which performance surprised you other than Jordan's slow start? Got a guy? Got somebody that you're kind of
surprised you in the game that based on what we saw in camp? Is that what they're asking?
Yeah.
I was surprised that Deuce Spann and Darian Williamson played as much as they did. Is that something?
Man, LSU just brings out the best in Deuce Spann.
Old Deuce Spann now, they must think this guy is a freak. Like he plays against us all the time running reverses and craziness.
I went back and watched the game last year the other day, and he was on the field probably half the snaps.
And he was on the field on their final touchdown drive when they he had an important run in that game and then didn't do anything the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Good old Deuce Spann. Lakewood showed up in a big moment.
What did you do when he made that play?
I said LHS, and then and I was laughing because of the ease with which he kind of just glided to his right, not worried at all, being the former quarterback that he is.
And being very, very fast. He ran around that defensive end.
If you didn't know, if you were an LSU fan or just a fan of any other school, and you didn't know that he was a quarterback, he's a quarterback in college in Illinois. If you didn't know that, because usually those plays, when they get blown up like that, I mean, it's a disaster.
Time.
Your best case scenario is he throws it away. But once he starts trying to make a play out of it, if you're an LSU fan, you're thinking, "Oh, this is it. We're cashing in here."
Yeah, I laughed.
And he throws a dart.
He throws a dart.
Flick of the wrist.
It's a third down play.
Hey, and who caught it?
Yeah, Johnny caught that
old J-Dub.
Yeah.
Old J-Dub.
Well,
he's never dropped a Deuce Spann pass.
No,
he's not going to.
Or Deuce Spawn, according to Fowler.
Yeah, that's
is that what he called him?
He calls him Deuce
Like Warren Spawn?
Yeah, it's odd.
I don't know.
It's so odd that Aslan went and looked up.
Like
to
he
see
called
if
him
his-
that multiple times?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Spawn twice.
Spawn.
As if maybe in the pronunciation
really
guide
is.
it is, but he's not even in the
Like
pronunciation
when we found
guide.
out Kentron Portier is not Portier, it's Portier.
Portier. Yeah.
Charlton writes, day one listener, I love every episode. Can you tell us what the fuss is with some comments Kelly said to coach during pregame? Oh, I don't know that there's fuss that he said anything to Norvell that is a problem. He talked about you stayed the course and all that stuff. You always were who you were and you never changed who you were. I think he was complimenting him for not changing who he was when they were losing games. And,
Kelly said that to Norvell?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then he talked about all the crowd.
Well, he said that to his own staffer when they had him mic'd up. He's like, man, it's quite the partisan crowd here. And then he said the same thing to Holly minutes later when she's interviewing him on the sideline.
The only thing I can think of, I don't know if they're mentioning the whole thing where he said we're going to beat the crap out of Florida State. And then after the game, when they got asked about it, and Keon and Jordan both acted like they'd never heard anything about it.
Yeah, they laughed about it. Yeah.
We'll see. But then Norvell goes, well, and then like Norvell didn't have to say, this was pretty cool, I thought. It was subtle.
Glad they played the game.
They didn't have, like it was over. Like both of them, and the question was to the players, and we could have just kept it moving. And Mike goes, I'm glad we got to play the game.
Yeah. No, listen, this team's got a chip. They're mad. They've had to go through a lot. They've worked really hard. They want the opportunity to showcase. I think they're going to embrace with great confidence these expectations from the outside. Because again, internally, this is their expectation.
It's also cool that they have players with a lot of edge on them, and they're not like manufactured chips on their shoulder. Jared Verse was at Albany. Jeremiah Byers was at UTEP.
Yeah.
Casey Roddick played at Colorado. Jordan Travis was an afterthought even here at Florida State. Keon Coleman wasn't recruited by his in-state school. Johnny Wilson had to transfer. None of these guys have had an easy college career, so they do. I think they have more chips on their shoulders than a typical top 5 team in the country, which is what they are now.
Paul writes, and it's Paul Thomas. Are you ready to find
Paul Thomas?
The Paul Thomas.
Okay,
PT3.
Yeah. As soon as I saw it, I was like, here we go. Are you ready to finally admit that Mastromanno's ability to punt with both legs gives LSU returners just too much to think about all offseason?
It is, man. It really screws with them.
They've got to be so tired of having to field kicks and punts of any kind against Florida State.
I will say this. I do think everybody's mocking LSU for not having a punt return. I think Mastromanno, man, there's something about the way he kicks. He gets that little
Spinning
English
dude.
on it, and it can be a factor. I think because we should go back and look. He's had a lot of punts muffed.
And I don't know what his yardage was in that game. I think he bombed the ball pretty well. They didn't punt much, the 2 or 3 times, but he's been doing that in practice too. That was not out of nowhere. Mastromanno's been really good in practice, bombing the ball like that.
To answer the other question, circling back, I didn't give a good answer. I don't think anybody surprised us.
Yeah.
Again,
Malcolm Ray played as much as he. Maybe
that's a
that
surprise. Yeah, that's fair.
And it was good to see Keandre Jones play a whole half. I didn't expect. I thought he was not. I know that they've got 8 guys that they believe in, but I didn't know that we would see all 8 play that much. And for him to play a lot, and then
I'm still surprised to see how much Kyle Morlock plays.
He was on the 55 snaps.
Yes, every time I looked up, he was legitimately the number 2.
Yeah, he's not. It didn't like him and Mark Easton are splitting that.
Was
he's the
interesting.
guy.
Yeah. How in the world, or what in the world? Sorry. Could the ref have been telling Bethune after that hit? Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought in real time live, sitting there in the stands, I was like, "What are you flipping out about, man?" He was like a concerned father.
Yeah,
I was
Bethune,
like, "Is that Jaden Daniels' dad running in there?"
And
What are we
Bethune
doing?
didn't start dry humping over him or anything.
Are you looking? That was a Twitter question?
Yeah.
Can you see the response to that question?
I just see 2 hearts.
If you click on it, can you see if anybody replied to it?
You could, Ira. You got a phone.
No replies.
I'll
there,
look.
partner. Why?
Because his dad replied to one of those comments.
Oh, well, there may be another one of those.
Yeah, Tatum's dad replied to him. Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Something like, I think somebody said, you know what it was? Somebody said, did Tatum apologize for what he did to that quarterback? And his dad just said, nope.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
He had to apologize to the referee or he's going to get kicked out of the game.
It was a rhetorical question, I'm sure, about the whether or not he apologized. How impressed with you all guys with the linebackers, other than that weird play of the draw at the end of the half? Not sure if that's on them or not. Jeff, try to be nice.
That was not good.
And the first play of the game was horrific.
Yeah, in the first play of the game, I can kind of, I'm sure, man, they're just overly hyped up and they just got lost their minds made
lost the back out of the backfield.
But the thing I would say though, because like Norvell talked a lot today, and I think this is 100% true, and we'll definitely do a story on it because I think it is accurate for the most part. But that draw kind of is the one fly in the ointment because he just talked about how much better they were situationally in this game. And you think about it, man, that was the whole thing with the Clemson game last year.
Yeah.
Florida State lost that game situationally.
It was like an 8-minute stretch.
Yeah.
Into the first half, beginning of the second half.
You had the turnover down there. Yeah.
Where in this game, Florida State dominated all those key situations. The only one that they did was
that was just so ridiculous because Jared Versett almost just strip sacked him.
Yeah.
35 seconds
he wasn't
left.
dropping down
It's
the
3rd and 10. They want Florida State to have to burn a timeout if nothing else. Of course, a draw and Patrick Payton rushes the quarterback.
Like he's going to get sacked.
As if the ball was snapped to it. He goes off the screen.
Well, it's a teaching moment.
It sure
it's
is.
It's an opportunity to look at film afterwards and say, now, what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah.
What are we
They didn't seem to be set. They were all on one side. It was just a bizarre breakdown that almost cost them more than just 3 points.
But if you think about that, and I mentioned also my 3-2-1, like Patrick Payton's a guy, and there's a few other guys that this was their first real chance to start. I think they're going to play better. Now, if your first start is that, that venue, I think you're going to see those guys settle down and play better.
Ira scared us both right now. There, didn't he? You thought another S-bomb or something?
Yeah, man, it's just what he does now.
I was like, it's happening.
You thought I was going to describe that stadium as something?
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Stadium. God bless it. But yeah, the
we can
linebackers
tear that
were okay.
Thing down any day now,
they
guys.
absolutely can. Did you know it was part of the New Deal? Like legitimately, the Island
That's what
told us that.
said.
It was built during the New Deal, and it
you can never tell.
It seems to be. That checks out.
Yeah, as I was walking up, I was reminded. I was just there, and then I was shocked yet again at how hideous that place is. I was like, good God. Once you're inside,
it's a football game. It's fine, but
it's
just
the Hauser of college football stadiums.
It's time.
Without the standing water.
It's time. Yeah. Timmy wants to know is Keon the offense's version, of Jermaine Johnson? Pro's pro rolls in here.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. The one thing I would say is Jermaine was a great leader by example. Like, I don't know if Jermaine was taking guys aside that year and teaching them stuff. Like, Keon's like is teaching.
Yeah.
He'll do like teaching clinics during practice. I don't know if Jermaine also hadn't established himself as much. I think Keon's got a little more confidence to him, at least coming in.
Yeah.
Because he caught 58 passes. Jermaine was a situational guy. He was trying to prove himself, but I think Keon already has. So a little different.
Christopher Smith writes, gents, so was this grand opening, grand closing for Clemson and UF this week? Golf courses all over the South will be even more crowded on Saturdays these days. Yeah, it's true. I mean, if you're a Florida fan, you're a little bit on
Saturdays
edge.
are freed up.
Yeah, got a little time here. And if you're a Clemson fan, you've got to be very, very concerned. I think most of the time fans are in denial when their program is on the precipice of falling off a cliff. They don't want to believe it. You'll lie to yourself. You'll rationalize what happens. So the Saturday golfing won't happen just yet.
Yeah.
But if they get thumped at home by Florida State in a few weeks, yeah, man, time to
You're
pick
talking
up.
about Clemson. Yeah.
What did I say, Florida?
No, you didn't. You didn't.
Yeah,
specify that.
Clemson, yeah. I'm saying if Clemson gets absolutely roasted by Florida State in their backyard, they know.
Florida's already there. This will be an interesting. You know what'll be interesting about that game if Florida season goes the way I think it has a chance to go. When Florida State was down and Florida was up, like Florida fans had no problem coming over to Doak. Like, and they're just, I mean,
it's a short jaunt, baby.
Yeah, but like so many Florida State fans hate Gainesville so much that I don't know that they'll do that.
Oh,
like,
they'll
did
go
in
down.
13.
They did in 13.
13, it was half Florida
they
State.
rode out.
Yeah.
It was, and we were walking around boldly.
Yes.
It was like just Garnet hanging out on University Ave.
Right.
What's up? Anybody want to talk? Anybody want to have a conversation? Yeah. I remember laughing about that because I drove over the day of the game and I left that morning. It was a beautiful sunrise. I was driving over because that was a day game.
It was a noon game.
Yeah, it was and the
You
other
drove
part,
over at daybreak. You must have.
I got up first thing in the morning. I loved it. Cup of Joe, driving, ready to go watch an ass kicking of a rival. And I met my buddy Matt and his wife, and we were there. And I went up to the press box. I remember I ran into William Floyd. We were laughing and talking, and then I went downstairs, and then I went back up. I actually watched it from the open air, but I remember laughing. Look at all of these Florida State fans just milling about, walking all around that stadium. It's nice to be emboldened at that point in a way, and I imagine that will be.
It was like they were when the rainy game with Tebow.
Oh, the way
Florida
Florida
was
saying.
It was like that. Yeah, Florida State showed up and I feel like 15-2. They weren't very good in 15 either. They beat up the Jeremy Kerr game.
Oh,
the
yeah,
only
yeah,
catch he
yeah,
ever
yeah,
had.
yeah.
That was a night game at least. But
You're you were driving over there and had no idea what KB was about to do to those DBs.
Yeah, once he figured out that the refs were going to let him play, it was time to just hip toss people into the stands and make catches.
Is Keon better? Do you think Keon is better than 2013 Kelvin?
Yes.
Is it's just one
He's
game?
got a
though.
chance to be.
Yeah, it's just one. Like Kelvin at his peak, which was the second half of that season, was the most unguardable a Florida State receiver's been since P-Dub.
But different because KB also so much of it was the physicality.
Yeah,
I mean,
he just
he's
and
so
not just that he's
massive.
tall. He was just
Yeah.
a big kid that threw people off him. But
Gigantic,
Keon, I mean, Keon 3 touchdowns in his debut, and again, he's so smooth and so effortless. In the
I
way
think he's
he
a more
runs and goes
polished
up.
receiver.
Yeah,
period.
100%.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah,
just meant production-wise, dominating-wise. And that's crazy that you have a guy that we're comparing to 2013 KB, and it's not Johnny Wilson.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's the other guy.
And Johnny's in the ballpark.
Yeah, and Johnny's close.
That first touchdown, by the way, as soon as he breaks the tackle and then sidesteps that guy, you could just see all of that room in front. You're like, that looks so easy.
Yeah, the way he runs, it reminds me of
and also
Andrew Jones playing center field.
Yeah,
just
not
kind of
even trying.
not even trying to run hard.
in a different way, but kind of similar as Jaheim when he gets the ball on that sideline. And I asked him, I was like, "Did you have any thought that you might?" He's like, "No, man, that was catching."
Yeah, man. But
No,
for real,
man,
you would have
nobody's
thought
catching
you
me.
think he's going to be pushed out at the 3, because they're DBs at LSU.
Yeah, but that DB wanted none of that.
Well, he might have gotten a shoulder.
No,
Yeah,
he wasn't gonna. That's 255 pounds.
yeah,
of-
running
get
like
you some.
that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Gentlemen, it reminded me of ACC refs protecting Duke in the 90s from being tackled too hard. Ira, would you describe Fisk as a bigger Nikita Whitlock, more athletic Bud Thacker, or a more talented Mike Mamula?
Well, Nikita,
nicely
he's
done.
not Nikita Whitlock.
No, he's not. But I get it. He's talking about a guy. Yeah, it was good. Well played, RA. Appreciate you.
I like
nice
Braden
Mike
Fisk.
Mamula reference.
Braden Fisk got a couple plays. He was held egregiously on one play where he bust through. But, man, they were double teaming him. They were trying to single block him. He's a problem, man. That's a good offensive line.
The dad guy writes, I got a better question. Elko seems to be coaching his last year at Duke.
He swears he's not.
Where do you see him being a problem for us if hired?
Yeah, people are worried he's going to end up at Florida, I think.
It's a quick turnaround for both schools, huh?
Yeah,
they wouldn't do that
I don't
after
think so.
2 years with Napier, right? I don't think
so.
they do that.
See how it goes.
Well, a piece. Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
It could
dude,
be a Taggart.
like I said, man,
If he's
and
2-5.
I didn't see this. I haven't seen this. My buddy who's a Florida fan who was texting me over the weekend very forlornly. He said that the play where they had the two guys with the same numbers on wasn't the most egregious. He said there was a field goal that Utah kicked that Florida had 8 guys on the field.
Yeah. So the main
that's right.
8? That's true?
Yeah.
So the main talking points from Florida fans that I saw after that game wasn't just that, we don't have a quarterback, because that's self-evident.
Or a running game.
Or a running game, that's also a problem.
Or a whole lot of talent on the line of scrimmage.
Or that you lost to a team that was missing half of its starters, including its starting quarterback, and got dominated. All of those things. It was 24-3 late in the game. So all of these are things that you'd be worried about. It was the way they looked, man. And that's why you saw so many people comparing that situation.
They're calling him Billy Taggart.
They were calling him Billy Taggart.
Are they really?
Yeah. Oh, they kept calling him Billy Taggart. And because, listen, that's what got Willie fired. It wasn't the record. I've told millions of people it's not the record. The record was bad, but it's not the record. It was the way we arrived at that record.
Having 12 guys on the field.
Yeah,
And
just
the direction
dumbassery every which way.
There was no tick up.
Yeah.
It was
no
steady doing this or
and
going
you
down.
can't be in year 2.
Yeah.
Like Nate
Yeah, you're
Pierce
right.
right
Not
now,
at
where you're
Florida.
like,
And when, especially when part of your negotiation was, I need 3,000 analysts.
Yeah.
I've got to have I've got 2 offensive line coaches, and their offensive line was horrendous. Not only were they give up 1 million sacks, not run the ball, but they also false started like 6 times.
There were all kinds of self-inflicted penalties.
Is there a chance he's trying to sabotage Florida because of his ties to Florida State? Because he was on
He
that
was here
coaching
for
staff
11 days,
11 or 12 days back in 2014.
I would say
There's an affinity for this place.
I think it's weird that, I mean, I thought Billy Napier was a good hire.
Yeah, everybody did.
And there was really no reason to believe he wouldn't be. I think the oddest part isn't that he's losing right now, and we'll see how their season goes. I don't think they're going to be good, but got a chance to certainly drastically improve over game 1. But to not look organized is disconcerting. That doesn't make sense to me. How is he not organized for a football game? I mean, you know you're playing Utah. You know this is going to be – everybody's watching. How are you not ready to play?
Some people in the FSU athletic department watch this show or listen to this show. How about a cinematic replay from that game?
There we go.
One of these games.
Okay,
we get a cinematic replay.
Yeah, exactly. Micah Pittman catching the ball. By the way, Keon, love you. Go catch the ball, man.
It wasn't
that was a
bad.
25-yard roll that he
see
let
what happened
that
last night with Duke. Duke guy ran up and tried to do it and fumbled.
Yep.
But it was because he slipped
on the bounce. But it was on the bounce. Stuff happens, man. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know,
you got to run underneath and
you got to go get the ball.
There's a lot of traffic going on.
Ira, you either going to play scared or you're not. Keon Coleman's not scared of traffic.
I'm not
he will
worried
go
about,
run routes in traffic.
It's one time. Let's just wait and see how this plays out.
Yeah, he let another one bounce later in the game that almost hit one of the up men that was trying to block. I'm not
Well, that was way short. That was
absolutely
that
was.
The first one was a knuckleball. The guy kicked.
But the second one he's talking about is I'm not giving you that one.
All right,
there was nothing he could have done.
And it went backwards, so they made up some ground there.
Well,
Michael would have caught him.
We'll watch closely. Mike did,
and he would have got a half a yard.
Well, no, I'm saying, but you would have started that drive at the 25 instead of the 1. They don't get the ball at the midfield and score. Look, man, I'm trying to chase championships.
I agree with you.
You know what I mean?
But I don't think you can put both of those on him. The first one, I might say, but the second one, don't do that. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab, all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
If you've been considering getting a new hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub, now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right. $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff?
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of, that nobody would know, and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Major League Baseball playoffs nearly about to start, and MyBookie has you covered. Of course they do. Wide range of betting options always, including money lines, run lines, totals, and futures. MyBookie gives you plenty of ways to bet on your favorite teams and your players. You can also take advantage of the MyBookie Money Bag, which gives you the chance to secure a bet on your favorite team or player at insanely boosted odds. Sign up today at MyBookie. Use the promo code WARCHANT. Secure a first deposit bonus of up to $1,000. It's simple. Deposit $200. Play with $300 instantly. Use the promo code WARCHANT to claim your bonus. If you're a baseball fan wanting to add excitement to the postseason, look no further than MyBookie. Sign up now. Get to experience the thrill of betting baseball like never before. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Plus, the NFL is starting this week, guys.
I know.
Boom. You excited about the NFL?
I'm a little bit excited about the NFL.
I heard it. I could hear it. I was like, that's an uptick in excitement.
Yeah, because I'm not usually an NFL guy, but I'm pretty excited about this season, I think.
All right. I like it. Let's do some betting.
I'm not. I'll think the Falcons. The Falcons could win the division. I think the Saints will, but
no, I think the Falcons are going to win the division.
I mean, great. What's that do?
Come on, you don't win a damn thing. Get excited about winning the division. Come
10-7, 9-8.
Take home that NFC South with pride and get you a shirt.
You go get the brains beat in by the Eagles. Yeah,
go get you a shirt, buddy. So yesterday we legit endured a real life. Remember the Titans first half refs completely one-sided. A staffer had a word with the refs saying, "I know what you ACC and SEC a-holes are up to. You call this game fair, or I'm taking this to the papers." Our fans were furious, and that first half was bad. I thought the refs were better in the second half.
Well, the most egregious is the Fisk play. I mean, the penalties are one thing. I mean, that offensive pass interference on Johnny Wilson was just fictitious.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
He gets bear hugged, and then he's just trying to get off the guy, and he didn't even shove him to get off of him. I mean, nothing about that made sense. And then the fist getting held right in front of the referee. I mean, that's crazy. Two guys.
Yeah. That was, and for the whole free world to see.
Right in the middle. Yeah. Holding gets, you can get away with holding all the time.
Yeah.
Not where that happened.
The other ones, like the Noles hit out of bounds, the Byron Turner hit late, and even throwing Daniels down after that run by the 5-yard line or whatever. You could see why they would call it. I've seen it not called a bunch of times, but there was the Johnny Wilson is just complete.
It's just made
utter
up
nonsense.
I think their interpretation was that he was blocking downfield while the ball was in the air.
The guy.
Johnny was, but he got bear hugged.
I don't disagree. That's their interpretation was that he was blocking while the ball was in the air.
They need to get a different interpreter.
Well, they missed it. They missed the call. They missed the call.
And then throwing him down, I thought it was weak. But
when you got 5 guys falling, it can happen. Yeah. They usually don't call that.
Yeah, but you also could let up too.
There were harder hits later on in the game.
You also just don't see a lot of teams go through a half without any penalties.
The Byron Turner one too. If you rewatch that one, the kid turns around to block him because he sees his teammate
on the sideline
kind of cut back in. He thinks the play's still going, so he turns around to block Byron Turner, and Byron Turner sends him to the moon, and they call a penalty on him.
Gentlemen, if given the choice, which do you think is a better quality sound system? Camping World Stadium sound system or two Dixie cups strung together?
You were in the we couldn't in the press box. We couldn't tell.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. I get it. Yeah. Why do you guys think that LSU?
By the way, real quick though, the announcer at that stadium, it's not his fault. I talked to him after the game. He's a Nole, and he kept saying it.
I think he kept saying it.
Did he really?
Yeah, because it was like hurricane relief. He's like, help both sides, but I gotta admit I'm a Nole. I think he kept saying that over and over.
Yeah, I got to talk to him afterwards. A former high school principal, real nice guy.
Okay,
and give him a shout out.
All right. Why do you guys? Steve wants to know. Why do you guys think LSU brought so few fans?
They knew what was coming.
No, we talked about this in the last hour a little bit. Honestly, that is a good question. Where the hell were the LSU fans?
I think
What's going on?
Took it for granted somehow. Yeah, I mean, I just think that they thought that. I mean, listen, man, we talked to these people.
They just lost to
we
us
talked to
last
these.
year.
Yeah, but we talked to these people on shows. You see the picks they made. They thought. I mean, you listen to those guys on their podcast. They were very confident, just like Florida State media was confident about Florida State. And I think their fan
we were
base,
right, they were wrong. But
yeah,
my goodness,
but I think
gracious.
their fan base thought like they've got bigger fish to fry.
Also think
I think that's right. I think they look down on Florida State the weird way.
That's what I think.
They're now what 2-8 all time against Florida State.
Because the argument
last one was 1981.
Well, but the argument some people started making in the national media in the last, because this is what happens. Like early, it starts the early buzz, and then people got to say something the other side to get attention. And there's a lot of people pointing out that Florida State lost those 3 games in the middle of the year, and they beat average Oklahoma and Florida teams. So that from that standpoint, you could. If you heard that, you could make yourself believe, oh, man, we're going to win that game by 28 points. I'm not driving.
I don't think that would have been dumb for them to think that. I think it might just be Occam's razor here. The simplest explanation is
they didn't want to come to Orlando?
It's Orlando.
Come on, man.
Compared to New Orleans.
You went to Orlando for a week.
I was there Thursday night, Ira. Thursday night till Monday afternoon. But I'd never been to Epcot.
How was it?
It was great. I'm going to admit it. I don't care. I've admitted to enough people. I did. I got poured. It got poured on.
I don't understand that. How did that happen? There are structures everywhere. That's all
I'm going to blame Tom and Jamie. They got us reservations in a pizza place in Italy. Italy portion of Epcot. And it was 5:45. Right? We didn't want to be late. It was pouring rain. And so we just went in the middle of the rain. And I didn't come with an umbrella. I didn't have a so it gave me an excuse to take my shirt off.
So
you
got
didn't take
that.
your shirt off inside the Italian restaurant.
I wore an undershirt. I wore an undershirt while my other one dried. And then I went to Japan and bought an anime shirt to wear because my other shirt was so wet. It was tight fitting.
How many people saw him and assumed he was from Keystone Heights or something?
Probably everyone. But also, I'm going to admit this.
He's
now,
running around with his shirt off.
I thought Epcot, the entire park, was inside that ball.
No, you didn't.
My whole life.
You did not.
Until a week ago.
You did not.
Yes, I did. I thought the whole
Why
park,
would you think that?
How big did you think the ball was?
I thought it was like the Astrodome.
And we're
I'd
all
never
just
been close
inside
enough.
of a ball?
Because I envisioned
What are we doing inside
like
the ball?
the taste of the countries being on different parts of the ball.
You must have thought that was the strangest draw of all time. People
literally,
flocking to Epcot to go in this
the rest
ball.
of this show. This is all we're going to talk about.
It's like me pronouncing it Hershey.
Yes.
Hershey. I did that my whole life.
Shame.
I always thought Epcot, the whole park was in that ball.
Like a biosphere?
Because I'd never been yeah, exactly. I really did. It's a community of tomorrow is what it stands for.
Oh my God.
So I'm like the community's in this
the next
huge
question.
ball.
No,
right.
I want to
We
explore
have
this.
a lot of them. We have a lot of them, and you get on me about this. Logan writes, let's go. What a night. Outside of the obvious guys that shine, who were the most impressive? DJ Lundy blew me away, said Logan. All right.
That was good,
That's
man.
a good vote, too. We had a similar question earlier, but yeah, that's a good one. DJ Lundy playing well was nice.
That was a big-time sack. The cool thing about that sack
especially running over that running back.
Well, that's what I was going to say is he got blocked and kind of got down to the ground and then got up and made the play.
Farmer was good, too.
DJ Lundy's got a little want to. Remember like last year, the touchdown run where he looked like he was going to get stopped.
He owns LSU.
Yeah,
LSU's not him and Deuce Spann or Spawn, depending on the pronunciation. Those LSU fans are not going to want to see them again.
Hello, boys. Great game. At the game Sunday night, other than the stadium running out of beer in the second quarter, any early indications from the Hey, Butch, you ain't kidding, buddy. I went down to get a beer. I'd had one cold one ready for number two. That first one just primed
was
you.
it a little highlight?
No, it was a sorry ass whatever they had. It was garbage. Anyhow, and I was like, okay, well, it's time for number two. It's second quarter.
Yeah,
I'm gonna beat the rush here. It was a TV timeout. I'm like, I'm good. We're all right. I got plenty of time. Went around the corner to get a beer, and they're like, yeah, we don't have any beer. What the hell are you talking about? It's the second quarter. There's like 9 minutes left in the half.
Yeah.
What are we doing? She's like, we ran out.
And it's LSU and Florida State fans.
And you ran out of beer in the second quarter. What kind of...
Yeah, man.
Patrick Wilson in the chat says he thought that about Epcot too.
Yeah,
but I'm going to assume Patrick is 7.
Patrick, I know you're not 7. It's just you grow up a certain way. I've never been close enough. I'd seen it off the highway.
Jokes we'd be making if we weren't on the air right now about the way you grew up.
I thought it was like the size of the Astrodome. And it's not. I walked past it. It's not very big at all, weirdly.
No.
Oddly enough.
Yeah. Ryan writes, I heard that was the second most watched season opening game ever. Between that and the awesome fan turnout, FSU has to be looking pretty damn good for the Big Ten or the SEC.
So, yeah, Drew, 9.1 million was the rating. It peaked at 10.3. It was the second highest Sunday night opener only behind Texas Notre Dame from whenever that was 7 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but think about this too. The other problem, it would have been even more highly rated had everybody been able to get it. You got this big dispute with Spectrum and ESPN, all that stuff. Yeah, so some people couldn't even get it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, I feel like we've made it known that Florida State brings pretty good ratings. That people like to watch Florida State football.
And it was nice, man, especially.
I know if NC State and LSU were playing, it would have been the same numbers. We understand that, but still.
Or how about that up-and-comer Wake? If it had been Wake and LSU.
And I know, look, man, the Florida State fan base, I think, is all in with Mike Norvell at this point. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah.
But the noise from outside of Florida State would have been a little loud after what Deion did if Florida State had laid an egg in that game.
Yeah, I'm glad they did.
So that worked out well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because Rich Eisen might have done a special.
Oh.
Like a whole special report.
Yeah.
Is Deion going to Tallahassee?
That you win. I'm ended
or
on
how
that.
FSU regrets.
No,
FSU
that's well
it.
done. He nailed it. Thank you, because I love Rich, but I'm like, come on, man. How are you getting duped by this grifter? Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
The Brooks County Sheriff's Office is looking for a man who they say stole a tractor from a local farmer and then ran over him. Omega PD initiated the chase. They ran the tag on the vehicle and it came back stolen. They tried to stop him. He didn't stop. Also, there was a stolen side-by-side UTV on a trailer being pulled by the vehicle. That's when Joseph Fender and two others got out of the car and ran into a nearby field. One juvenile was taken into custody while Fender and the third suspect were able to get away. Saturday morning, Fender showed up at a farmer's house, had a confrontation with the farmer, and then the farmer called 911 and reported it. Fender fled into the woods where search teams were unable to locate him. Later, Fender returned to the farmer's property where he was discovered stealing a tractor from a utility barn. And as he was trying to escape, he ran over the farmer, drove into a field, and once again ran into the woods where search teams were unable to find him again. Fender has a violation of probation warrant from Colquitt County and 4 active felony warrants in Brooks County. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A blend of clouds and sun this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 92. Winds out of the east around 5 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, lows level off around 71. Mainly sunny skies tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 94. 94 Thursday with a chance for scattered thunderstorms. 93 Friday, chance for storms continues. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 91.
Passion for culture, passion for flavor, and passion for people. An unparalleled culinary experience awaits you at Café de Martín and El Bar. And it's not just for dinner. Spice up your weekday lunch routine with exciting specials and memorable Peruvian flavors like the arroz chaufa, stir-fried rice with green onions, snow peas, red peppers, and eggs with your choice of protein. Or enjoy a fresh, flavorful campesino salad with mixed greens, avocado, jalapenos, carrots, cherry tomatoes, and topped with our famous chicken salad served with a creamy vinaigrette dressing. And now, Café de Martín is Tallahassee's favorite new spot for brunch. Every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. with the best authentic Peruvian dishes in the city, matched with handmade artisan cocktails and our exclusive Buy 2, Save 2 Mimosa Special. Save $2 when you order 2 mimosas. The most memorable and unique culinary experience in the capital city is Café de Martín and El Bar. Open for lunch, dinner, happy hour, and brunch on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
George writes, what does it say about FSU if LSU runs the table from here? Oh, well, it would say FSU is the best team in the country.
Yeah. They got 3 first-place votes in that AP poll.
I'm just saying, like, if LSU goes undefeated the rest of the way.
And they lost by 21 points.
We're
down by 28.
What exactly has changed the interior of our defensive line to allow us to be so stout up the middle? We got better players and more of them,
and
Kevin.
Healthy, yeah. I mean, the thing is, last year, we tried to make this point a lot this summer, so I'm assuming you weren't listening, but that wasn't when they got run up the middle. It wasn't like they had 2 banged up defensive tackles.
Well, Fabian didn't play for half this, was not even on the field.
And Robert Cooper probably shouldn't have been out there.
Robert Cooper was not himself.
He got surgery
at all.
after
and
the
Farmer
season.
wasn't ready. Yeah. Now Farmer's ready.
And you didn't have Fisk.
Braden Fisk is good. Fabian Lovett is back.
Briggs
is healthy.
Briggs is now this guy.
So, yeah, man.
Malcolm Ray is apparently the second coming. They love that kid.
Malcolm Ray played well.
He did. He played a lot.
And listen, when Fabian Lovett is back in game shape, they're going to be even better. And God help everybody on this schedule if they end up granting that waiver. General Jackson. I'm not saying they will.
Hey, I'm only bringing it up because you talked about him, and we'll get to the questions. I'm sorry, but you just talked about Colorado. I mean, if there wasn't the 24-hour weirdness that happened with Jackson State, imagine this team with Travis Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Good, sweet Moses.
Yeah.
He played 129 snaps in that game.
It'll be interesting to see how many snaps he continues to play.
Well, he will not keep doing that. But I mean, you can't. But holy moly, he's as good as advertised. Imagine him on this. But if Travis Hunter's here, maybe Keon isn't.
Possible.
Just throwing that out there.
Could Destin go to the NFL if he had a big year this year? Writes Jonathan.
Yeah, he's 3 years from high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
He was in the same recruiting class as Keon Coleman.
He's going to
be in the NFL.
Yes, he will. He's Destin's going to have to pick it up.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, theoretically, sure.
And and I'm not being facetious to say that he will pick it up. Destin Hill's
and he'll play in the NFL, I think,
and he's going to play a lot this year for Florida State.
But
Catherine wanted us to know that it sure sounded like Doak Campbell Stadium at one point with the war chant loud and proud. Yeah, it did. It was. Yeah, and when I went back and watched the game again after getting home yesterday, it really did show through on TV too. You never know. I mean, I knew it did at the time that I was in the stadium, but it came across. Yeah, that it was.
Oh, it was very partisan. Brian Kelly was right there.
There was a even in the press box. So a couple of the people that cover LSU for different websites who were happened to be sitting in our area, man, they were
jackasses,
not big FSU fans, and
jackasses.
So. The one guy, he's sitting there like, I mean, literally, as soon as the first time the war chant started playing, he's like, get used to that. A 3-yard run, they're going to play that. They're going to play the war chant. And it was just like,
I wanted to say, hey, dip blank. They don't play it on offense. So you're making
your
stuff up right now because you get used to Rocky Top. Or the way that whatever the LSU band plays.
Or the cowbells at Mississippi State.
And he also said, weird. Well, it's an 80-20 crowd because obviously this fan base has been down for so long. And it's like, all right, man. From 1980 so since Billy Cannon won the Heisman.
LSU got curb stomped.
From 57 to Nick Saban. From Billy Cannon to Nick Saban, you guys were pointless and irrelevant.
Those Curly Hallman years.
Yeah, the Curly Hallman years, the Mike Archer years.
The Jerry DiNardo years.
I mean, shut up, man. Good grief.
Well, and also you lost to Florida State last year.
Yeah. Yep.
And what's the all-time record?
Yeah, 8-2 Florida State.
Yeah. Florida LSU beat them in 81.
There you go.
So that was part of the Oktoberfest.
So that was kind of like my internal rooting interest was, man, I really hope Florida State takes over this game because.
What was he saying late when it was 45?
Not a lot.
No, not talking anymore. No, not a lot to say.
Quiet.
How many teams after week 1 would you be scared to play right now after seeing FSU play?
Are these Facebook questions, by the way?
These are all Facebook
questions. Good. I hate to be the IRA.
I started the first two. I did all Twitter.
They seem short, so I didn't know if they were.
No,
we've
buddy,
gone back to Twitter.
No Seymours?
I think
there's not anybody.
We're going to be 65 years old doing this show, and you're going to be like, "Are you doing the Facebook?"
Well, by that time, it'll be something else.
He's going to be yelling at me about Twitter. I'm like, guys,
it'll be Snapchat.
Trust your boy here. Trust your boy.
I mean, Twitter doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say you need to ask if he's doing X questions.
Here we go.
I don't think there's anybody that Florida State would be scared to play. There's obviously plenty of teams they could lose to.
Sure.
But there's nobody they would be lining up going like, panicking and shaking.
This is always, no matter who you play, the biggest overreaction. And that's even true after a great win over a team with a lot of talent. I mean, let's see more football. Let's see what happens. If LSU goes on to go 6-6 or 5-7, all right, we might have a different talking point at the end of the year. You know that. So let's just wait and see what everybody is. I suspect, as bad as Clemson played last night and as bad as they looked, they're not going to have a great year, but they're also not going to look like that every week. I think they'll be better than that. I don't think Florida's going to be better than they were. I think they're going to look like that all the time.
And we don't know anything about Miami.
Yeah.
Literally nothing. We'll find out more about them on Saturday.
My man Span with the big pass. Did you guys have a sense that might have showed up on Sunday or later in the season? Well, we did see him practice it. The weird part is
not like that,
but they didn't set it up.
at all.
They didn't run the bubble and then have him do it.
Yes.
Like you can run it over there so that you set them up for this play and then you have them turn and throw. They didn't do that. They just called it. I also thought it was a terrible call. Like
at 3rd and 1.
At 3rd and 1, what the hell are you doing a double pass for? That was the only time that I said anything. I said it as it was happening. When I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Worked out, but it was weird.
And then you realized you did get it in the hands of the guy from Lakewood.
That's right. Always.
Yeah, he's going to make something happen.
When in doubt.
Yeah.
Had register sausage for the first time last night while watching the game. Why did I wait so long? Yay, sausage.
Amen.
Good job,
Preach.
Caleb.
Yep.
We're happy your life has turned the corner now.
You know
Caleb.
what? I want to hear more people talking about their visits to Birch. Because we know the people that listen to us go to Birch too. I want to hear about walking into her office for the first time and how enjoyable it was.
Tweet pictures of your kids' smiles or your grandparents' smiles.
I mean,
because
I
Dr.
like
Birch.
it. Yeah, absolutely. After going over everything and talking to others, do you all think LSU thought they were going to show up and dominate this game? The Brian Kelly UGA comment was interesting to say the least. Yeah, a lot of people have risen an eyebrow, obviously, by
including Jaden Daniels. Like,
did you see the look he gave?
Yes.
Just
yeah, that was an interesting look he gave. I don't understand how that could be. It could be, but they lost to Florida State last year. It wasn't a fluky loss. I know it was a very even game and you blocked an extra point.
I guess, man, if you beat Alabama, though, man, like maybe they just assumed.
Then you lost to A&M and got housed by Georgia and beat a Purdue team that didn't, literally half of it, the team wasn't there. I just don't understand. And Florida State added what they added. I don't know how you go into that game overconfident. You can be confident because you should be confident. You're LSU, but overconfident? Florida State got better than you did.
One of the things that happened, I think, for LSU is, they looked at it as it was Brian Kelly's first ever game with the program.
Jaden Daniels' first game.
Jaden Daniels. Okay, that's fair. I would say that to myself if I were an LSU fan. And the reason I would is I'd say, look what happened the rest of the way. We won the West,
and
played for
Harold
the SEC
Perkins
title.
Didn't play and
all those things. I would be like, I would convince myself of that if I were an LSU fan. They do have good receivers. That is a good offensive line. Those transfers that came in on the defensive line are good, help bolster them. So I would be confident going into that game. Now, I would have walked out of Camping World Stadium going, well, damn. How good is FSU? Because I know this kid's going to the NFL for me, and this kid is too, and so is that kid and that kid. But they beat our ass tonight. I would be.
And you take away a couple of drops and maybe a couple of bad decisions here and there.
Too, but
no, but I mean, like Florida State was close to scoring 55 points.
Glenn C. said, Travis and Span and pray for rain.
Why were some of the offensive linemen being switched out? Was the coaching staff looking for better matchups or playing strengths?
Good question, Ira.
What was the question?
Why were some of the offensive linemen being switched out?
Alex Atkins actually talked about today, and he said that their plan.
One of them got hurt.
He said the plan was, he might have been limited.
The guards, though.
The plan was to play all of them. They wanted to play Darius. They wanted to play Keandre. Casey Roddick and Dimitri Emmanuel started at guard, but then they moved. They brought Keandre in for Emmanuel. Then later they put Dimitri in for Roddick, so they rotated those guys, but they wanted to play all those guys. So he said it wasn't a surprise to the players. It wasn't necessarily just like a matchup thing. They wanted to play all of them, and they did. And the only one that's kind of odd, maybe like not what you'd expect, is Robert Scott to only play like 13 snaps. So we'll have to see. My guess is maybe, Mike Norvell has said they took him slow with him in the preseason. You still have, a couple weeks here now to kind of get going before the Clemson game. So maybe they were just trying to.
There's a play.
And Bless played well, too, and won
Bless
ACC Lineman of the Week.
Well, and Bless had a great camp.
Yeah.
And we talked about that openly. The only thing I'd say is, I had people tweet at me about this. There's a play when you rewatch the game. I don't know if he's hurt or not. There was a play where I thought Robert kind of tweaked something and came out. Now he was off on his own power or whatever. But, I don't think it was catastrophic. But when you're nursing something and just coming back, even any sign that maybe there's something, I'm thinking you're going to be careful.
Yeah, and it could have been a deal where they were going to give Bless a chance anyway, put him in there, see how he does, and then he does well. Then
it's good to have. You don't want to keep testing depth, but it sure is good to have 8 guys that have played a ton of football.
T-Money Noles writes, Duke looked for real. That's a legit quarterback, the receivers, veteran team, a head coach that is a defensive mastermind. Can they be FSU's new NC State? They looked like they belonged last night.
I like Riley Leonard.
Yeah, tough kid.
That's a rarity for Ira.
Yeah, man.
Look
what
at
is that about?
He meets all the qualifications for me to hate him.
Yeah.
I liked about him.
Even the name.
I liked about him is the in the post-game celebration when the Duke fans rushed which I also love the fact that apparently like Duke's people are on social media saying that they were asking the administration, like, in the last minutes, like, is it okay if we go on the field? And the administration was like, oh yeah, man, go rush the field. But when he's down there in the pit of all the fans, he looked like, man, he could not have been cooler and happier about the moment. Sometimes, man, it's a little dicey.
We
if you're a
talked to him
player.
at the ACC kickoff. He was a nice kid.
Did you guys? Yeah,
he
seemed
was
like
a nice kid.
But it's not going to be dicey with Duke football fans.
That's
You're
a very
safe.
good point.
It's
You're
not
gonna-
Auburn.
Nobody's going to shiv you.
Yeah, it's not
Duke.
Auburn or Mississippi State or something.
That's a good point. Never mind.
Yeah.
If that had been
take
Miami
it back.
fans
I'm
racing
gonna go
onto
back
the
to hating
field,
them.
my God.
Holy moly.
Run for the hills. Your life is in jeopardy, everybody. Let's go. Tom writes, if hypothetical games were played this Saturday, what's the spread for FSU versus Bama?
Bama by.
Where's the game?
Yeah, where's the game? If the
Let's
game's
say
at
it's,
Bama by
Let's say it's in Atlanta.
5.5 or 6, I was going to say.
I was going to say if it's in Atlanta, it's neutral site. I'd say it's Bama by
4.
3. 2 or 3.
I would say over 3.5, 4. Yeah. What's Florida State, Ohio State? Florida State's favored.
You think so? Yeah.
Ohio
they're
State
cool.
didn't look
Yeah,
good.
yeah, they did not. Yeah.
Like 1.5, Florida State.
Yeah. Already a pick, but yeah, it's close.
In neutral site. I'm assuming neutral site again.
And what would those spreads have been 3 years ago?
Correct.
Oof.
Literally, Alabama would have been
37,
44. Man,
Florida State, Michigan, neutral site.
Man, that's
Michigan.
That's a pushy push.
It might have
I
been
think.
1.5.
Maybe Michigan by 2 or 3.
Michigan by 1.5, 2, and Georgia.
Florida State by 10.
No. I'd say Georgia by 7.5.
Yeah.
Although we do have a big avid listener of the show who's a Georgia fan, and I just ran into him actually, and he thinks might be the Noles and the Dogs at some point getting
buddy.
Come and get some dogs. Come and get some Carson Beck.
Wouldn't that be nerve-wracking?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be just cool to be in that game, right? Be in New Orleans against Georgia on New
I've
Year's
been
Eve.
in New Orleans against Georgia.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah,
I
you wanna win
remember
the
that
thing.
drop pass.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
remember my man streaking wide open and Anquan Bolden throwing a dime.
Yeah.
Only to have
Looking
that
like
drop.
Deuce Spann.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a tough drop.
Oh, I'm still mad about
Hey,
it.
he had a lot of good plays.
nice guy. I like him. He's good,
You
good
focus
guy.
too much on the drops is what we're figured out about you. It's
Buddy,
not
that's
not
a
the big
walk-in
plays.
touchdown.
Think of all the other touchdowns Talman had.
Oh, yeah. Tons of them.
Come on.
No
don't be
other
rude.
drops.
I mean, he had some
Pressure
big plays.
back home.
Oh,
That's right.
I'm still mad about it. Worst case, we have D. Jackson and Farmer next year. That's not so bad, right?
Well, worst case is Daryl's in the
Yeah,
NFL.
it's not the worst case.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daryl could go to the league.
I don't think he will. I think he'll stay.
It was a big retrieval for Farmer to enter the portal and come back, as it turns out.
Worked out
Yeah,
well.
about that. That worked out to be, especially with Jackson not getting his way. That was a very, very big development.
Matt writes, you've spoken about Jordan's evolution as a leader, especially in the press/public setting. His post-game interview on the field, he nailed it. Were you guys also impressed, especially given where he's come from in that setting? Awesome show, very consistent. I appreciate you. Thanks, Matt.
We are consistent.
You've seen the post-game.
I didn't see the interview.
Oh,
I will go
I
watch
have.
it now. But there was one moment I wanted to bring up. I actually wanted to write about it, but I didn't. So I'm going to throw it in here. I thought a really cool moment in that game was he had just LSU when they scored to go up 14-7. Was that after his turnover?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just thrown that awful pick. They go down and score, go up 14-7.
That really is a damn sorry pick.
It's an awful pick.
Crazy.
It's
crazy.
And it wasn't even his worst throw.
It wasn't. Anyway, so that had just happened. They go down and score. They go up 14-7. Things are looking dicey. When the defense comes off the field after that score, after the extra point, he went out and he just shook hands of all of the defensive players. And I thought what was cool about it was that's fine, but two of the defensive players, Tatum Bethune was one of them, kind of just patted his hand as they ran by, and then came back to him and basically were like,
let's go,
dude, this is your time now.
Yeah, this is who you are. Let's go.
I watched him warming up on the sideline, man. You could just tell, whatever was going on before that, he had cleared his mind.
Time to lock it in.
And that's impressive to do that during a half, not at halftime.
Hard
but
to
doing
do.
That's why experience is such a big deal, man.
Gosh,
He's played so many college
Clear the
football
mechanism.
games. He's
Let's
seen them
go.
all. He can do it. A lot of young guys can't.
For Corey Clark and Ira Chaffel, I'm Jeff Cameron. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. We love you. Peace out. Have a great rest of the week. Peace.